The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello there. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Simon Morton, Managing Director of Eyeful Presentations here in the UK. I know for some of you it's the morning, for some of you it's the afternoon. We ran this webinar earlier today and we had some Australian attendees, and God only knows what the time was when they dialed in. So thank you very much for attending wherever you were calling in from. It really is much appreciated. The purpose of this very short webinar is to share with you some of the exciting new things that are coming through in the latest version of Microsoft's PowerPoint 2013, and also to highlight some of the things that frustrate us as well. So we're not here to wave the flag for Microsoft in any way. Just as a business, we work with customers day in, day out, optimizing their presentations and ensuring that their presentations are as effective as they possibly can be. And as a result of that, we know a fair amount about PowerPoint, but that's really more of a positioning thing than anything else. What we'd like to do is, first of all, consider the audience that we're sort of aiming this webinar at, and it's for business users. We're very fortunate in our sector of the marketplace in the fact that presentation designers and consultants are a merry bunch that seem to get on very well with each other. So we've already shared a lot of our thoughts and considerations with that audience. This is designed very much with the business user in mind. And as part of that process, what we want to do is look at some of the functionality very much with that business presenter and their requirements sort of, as I say, very much in mind. To position PowerPoint and PowerPoint 2013, it's probably best to hand over to the ever so elegant looking Steve Ballmer, who, when they launched Office generally, and obviously Microsoft is PowerPoint is part of that Microsoft Office suite, he was pretty direct and said it's the most ambitious release of our Office they've ever done. Maybe is our general sort of view. We saw a very interesting article came out the other day, and it pretty much summed up our view on this whole thing as well, which is this isn't really a revolution, it's more of a refinement of the Office suite that you probably use every day. And certainly in terms of PowerPoint, there are some things that are really quite good, and there are some things that still haven't quite made the move up to the next level, which is what we were certainly hoping for. But anyway, before we get into that, just a few sort of questions really. The way we'd like you guys to get involved, and thank you again for joining us, is please bombard us with questions. The way to do that is on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll see a little, in the top right-hand side, you'll see a little sort of orange arrow and a couple of blue blobs underneath that. If you click on that orange arrow, that gives you a questions box. So please question away, and we'll make sure that we don't bang on too long, and we'll have the opportunity to go through some of those questions with you. So thanks again, and let's crack on. Now I'm going to take a bit of a back seat through this whole process. I'm joined by Eyeful's what he's called many things. He's our R&D guy, he's our techie guy, he's our geeky guy. He is Matt Roper. So Matt, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Simon, as always.
Matt's been sitting in a dark room pondering all sorts of things to do with PowerPoint 2013 for a few months now, and occasionally he leaves his dark room and says, oh, it does this. So this webinar is really a culmination of all of those, oh, it does this moments. So Matt, bearing in mind our audience, bearing in mind the people that we work with day in, day out, the business user is really the person that we need to think about. And they're always asking us, how can we speed things up when we're putting together PowerPoint presentations? Does 2013 allow you to do that?
It certainly does. I'm very happy to report. In fact, I would say, looking at the new iteration of PowerPoint overall, thinking of not just the new tools that Microsoft have added into PowerPoint 2013, but also the existing tools that were already there. They seem to have upgraded those as well, and everything just seems that little bit quicker and a little bit smoother to do. For example, I did a test with a piece of audio. I embedded it into a slide in PowerPoint 2010. It took about 10 seconds to process, and a moment later I did exactly the same process in 2013, and it took about 1 second, if that. It was there in a split second. It was extremely quick.
If we needed proof that you're a geek, I think we've just had it.
Oh, that'll be more.
Okay, good stuff. So in terms of just the interaction with the software, how's that sort of changing things?
In terms of the interaction with the software, if I just exit this slide and go into the edit mode of PowerPoint, I'll just insert a new slide as well so you can really see what I'm talking about. As you can see, compared to 2010, it doesn't look massively different. However, they have seem to have cleaned up the view. They've got rid of the horrible grey side background, and they've defaulted to a 16:9 ratio. You probably can't see that because we're in a presentation we've created, but if you ever open a blank PowerPoint slide straight from scratch, you'll see it is a 16:9 ratio as opposed to 4:3. That's one thing. If you're not sure what 16:9 and 4:3 is, it's the difference between basically a widescreen monitor and a non-widescreen view. So as you can see, this slide would say is set to widescreen. Moving on from that, there are a few new tools that I've been added in. I'll quickly demonstrate one of those. Microsoft have added in a new section for the images part of PowerPoint, so you can now insert online pictures. The old way of getting a picture from the internet would have been to simply open a web browser, go to something like Google whatever kind of image you're after, search for it, choose it, download it, and go back into PowerPoint, search for it, and insert that image. In terms of PowerPoint 2013, you've now got this handy little tool. You can insert something from office.com, some clip arts. As I said before, I'll say it again, I'm not sure why you would.
Why would you ever put in clip art, I guess is the question.
And there's also this Bing image search, Bing being, of course, Microsoft's own web browser, so just the same as going to Google Images, really, I suppose. So,
bit of product placement, really.
Yeah, exactly. So if I type in something to search for, as you can see, it's virtually like going to a browser and searching for it, and you can select and insert an image. So there you go. It's taken just a couple of seconds to do something that probably would have taken a good couple of minutes in previous iterations of PowerPoint. So those are the that's one of the examples of how Microsoft have added something in to save on time. In terms of efficiency in working, there's also been a major step forward in Microsoft Office in terms of their use of SkyDrive. You might have noticed a moment ago on that, inserting that online image, you could search for someone's SkyDrive.
So what is SkyDrive? Because you mentioned it a few times in the office, and Microsoft are very excited about this. So, but what is it?
In a nutshell, it's not exactly a new thing. It's something that's been around for a good couple of years now. It is a section on Microsoft's website where you can sign up for a free Windows Live account, and you get access to 25 gigabytes of online storage, which is completely free.
Right.
So it means, for example, this PowerPoint presentation we've got open here, say we were to start working on this in the office and decide we want to continue at home later. The traditional way of getting that file to your home computer would have been either to attach it to an email and send it over, or perhaps put it on a memory stick. With SkyDrive, you can literally just go to File, Save As, and as you can see, SkyDrive is now part of the Office suite. So I can simply select a recent folder here, and because I'm already logged into my SkyDrive account, it automatically finds that folder and displays it as such. So looking at this, it does look like it's just another folder on your computer, but it's actually you're looking at a piece of hard drive space on the internet.
Right, so it's out in the cloud, which I guess is one of the things of the that you're not tearing around the place constantly worrying about which version you're
Absolutely.
working on, have you got the right version on your key. It's happened to me all the time where I work on something at home and guarantee that I've got the wrong version on my key.
So if you can imagine doing it over a few days and you do a bit of checking, a bit at home, a bit at work, suddenly you're looking at different emails and is that the latest one? Is that the right one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my life.
So it's really getting rid of that problem.
Now, one of the things you talked about, and again, really keen for you to explain in a bit more detail, is collaboration using this clever widget.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know from our customer base that a lot of people will be stakeholders in the presentation. And so you might have somebody in the UK office, somebody in the US office, and somebody in the Russian office, all working on the same project for the same presentation. And version control there is a nightmare. So has PowerPoint and has Office managed to address some of those things?
Certainly, the new iteration of Office and in particular PowerPoint allows you to work collaboratively. Easy for me to say. Collaboratively with someone else. So you could have, like as you say, you start sat here and one of your colleagues in another country logging into their SkyDrive account and working on the same presentation file. Because what it actually allows you to do, you can either open that PowerPoint file on the Office web app for PowerPoint, which is a cut down version of the main program, or you can choose to open it in the PowerPoint that is installed on your computer. Mm-hmm. So it's still a file that's stored in the cloud, but you're working on it on your machine, and every time you hit save, it's updating the file on the cloud, and vice versa for your colleague working on it at the same time. And it will give you a little notification that such and such has updated the presentation.
Fantastic. Well, that's a huge step, and what's quite interesting from our perspective as a presentation dedicated company is that I was trying to cobble together a similar sort of approach 5 years ago, and it was almost impossible. So the fact it's now sort of slowly but surely becoming commonplace, I think is somewhat exciting. The other thing I've noticed is just the general look of the software is different. And it just seems a little, perhaps to me, there's more white space. It just feels a little bit more engaging. Is that going to help in the way that they've set it up in efficiency terms?
Well, yes and no. Some of the changes, for example, are very aesthetic. Such as this view now, you can see they've added some graphics up to the top, which is nice, but it really doesn't help. Looking at it from an time economy point of view, if you open a new blank PowerPoint 2013 file, two things really strike you straight away that weren't there before. You first of all got this panel on the right, which has got a lot of pre-made templates that Microsoft have created for you. Handy if you're a very basic user and you're really not confident in designing something from scratch. Moving on, you've got this recently opened PowerPoint panel. That's not necessarily a new thing. It's being able to open recent projects has been around for quite a few versions now. But it's nice that as soon as you open PowerPoint, it's right there. You don't have to browse on your computer for the file you've worked on recently, find that, double click on it and open PowerPoint. You can actually just open PowerPoint, and there's so many now on the list, and there's a good chance, even if you haven't worked on it for a few days, it's going to be within that list, and simply click it, and there you go. You're into your project.
So yeah, it's nothing like the revolution that we saw when we moved from 2003 to 2007. But you know, there are subtle changes that are making it that little bit easier. I guess the killer question, and one we get asked all the time, is it going to make my slides look any cooler? Is it going to make my aesthetically, what tricks have they introduced to make my stuff look better?
Well, I've got to be honest. Pretty much any version of PowerPoint after 2007, coupled with some basic design skills, is going to help you get good-looking slides. The most important thing to never forget, though, is that it's the story of your presentation that's key. If you don't get that right to start with, it doesn't matter how good your slides look. That said, if you can get your story right and get your slides looking slick, then you are going to have the perfect presentation, and there are lots of ways that PowerPoint 2013 can help you achieve good-looking slides.
So I guess you've got two groups. You've got the basic users, the people that go in once in a blue moon, but they need to make sure that stuff looks good, And then you've got the people that live and breathe this thing because they're either part of the marketing or sales function, or they just do a lot of presentations and find themselves living in PowerPoint a lot. So first, from a basic perspective, what bits are there that we can pull upon?
Well, there's definitely quite a few things for someone who may be not so confident with PowerPoint. Let's look at the new eyedropper tool that's been created by Microsoft. If you've used other design types, pieces of software, you may well be familiar with the concept, but let's just quickly insert some shapes to colour up. Okay, so I'll pop those in. Now, perhaps you are creating a presentation that you want to pitch to another company, and you'd like to incorporate some of those companies' corporate colours into your presentation. Mm-hmm. It's not an uncommon thing to do. The old way to do that would have been to perhaps go to their website, download some sort of tool that will show you RGB codes of colours. The eyedropper tool, though, now brings that functionality to within PowerPoint. You no longer have to step outside of PowerPoint to find that tool and do that procedure. So let's imagine, for example, if I just quickly insert an image as well, that we want to take some colours from this image of Marilyn Monroe. And why wouldn't you?
You're playing to the audience here. As well. That really is
totally unintended. So let's imagine we want to bring the colours of this image in. Obviously, what the image is not important. So we select the shape or whatever it is you want to colour. It could be text, and we go to shape fill. And of course, the old way would be to go to more fill colours. After you've got those RGB codes, write them all down and type them in. It's a bit of a slow process. Now you go to shape fill and you go to eyedropper. And as you see, you can move your mouse all around the image, and let's say we want to take that exact red colour. Just a simple click. And let's also take Marilyn's lovely blonde hair, and also...
It looks a bit ginger to me, but carry on.
I wasn't expecting that. And the blue from the stars area.
But it's not just shape fill, this, is it? I mean, it's shape outline, it's text,
right.
It's all sorts of stuff. And so you can be that specific.
Absolutely. How I see this being a benefit to people creating corporate slides is, as I say, you could take a screenshot of your the target website, pop that into PowerPoint, and you get those colours instantly.
And you've done some tests, haven't you? I mean, you talk about what's
really
under the hood of this. So you've done some tests, and did it match?
It's bang on. We tested it with a client's brand guidelines, their colour palettes, which had all the RGB codes on, and when double checking the codes in PowerPoint on the more fill colours here, they were bang on.
Fantastic. That's extraordinary. So I can see that being useful. The other thing I've noticed is it's a wider screen.
It is indeed. That's the 16:9 ratio, which I mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Moving, yes, 16:9. Sorry, that's my track there. One of the great tools that Microsoft have added in is a tool to switch the size of your slide from 16:9 to 4:3 or vice versa. This is relevant to those of you who have been at the sharp end, have been at an event, have spent many hours carefully honing their presentation only to get there and be told maybe half an hour or an hour before by the AV company that you're actually going to be, your slides are going to be shown in the whatever ratio you haven't created them in.
So it's we call it sod's law. So yeah, you've done it in 4:3, and they're going to want it by 16:9,
or vice versa.
Okay.
So as most of you will probably know, you can automatically change the size of a slide just by clicking a button. That's always been around. But what's beautiful, if we take this 16:9 as an example, this developed slide, if we go into design and slide size, same old tool is there, but however, Microsoft have upgraded it. So when you click on here, you've got this option to either maximize or ensure fit. And depending on your slides, you'll choose the one which suits better. So if I quickly demonstrate maximize, you'll see that the slide behind the content has changed to the right ratio, and it's left the content untouched. Not quite perfect in this example.
That's not going to work, Matt. I'll be honest with you. Look at all the information that's left on the outside.
Oh, it's a pro and a con, isn't it?
It is. No, I couldn't have.
The content has been untouched, which is good, but it's bad in the sense that if you've got 20 slides like this and you're going to have to resize them all, you've got a bit of a long night coming up for you. So if we quickly undo this, and we change it to 4:3 again, but this time we choose the ensure fit option. As you can see, the slide has not only been resized, but also the content sat on the slide has been adjusted accordingly, which is fantastic news in my opinion.
Well, that's going to. I think any sort of seasoned presenter or certainly a seasoned presentation designer will have been faced with that awful moment where somebody says, "Oh yes, I meant to say it was supposed to be 16:9 or 4:3, and we've ended up in a real pickle there." So I can see how this is going to cut out a lot of the legwork. It doesn't look like it's going to. It's not perfect. But it's going to help you along the way.
Definitely. And I think it's just going to save you. You're still going to have to go through and check your slides and tweak them, but I think it's going to make the whole process a little bit easier and less painful.
Quite. Okay, what else you got?
Okay, so that was the 16:9 conversion tool. The next tool I have got for you is the auto alignment. So if I quickly go back to this slide, auto alignment has been around since PowerPoint 2010. However, in 2013, it's been significantly upgraded.
Well, alignment is one of those things, isn't it? Align and distribute. It's been around since the years, not pretty much. And we do a lot of public training and bespoke training for our clients all over the world. And one of the things that is always a quick win to impress an audience is to show them this wonderful feature that sits in the background of PowerPoint and has done for many, many years, the ability to align automatically and to distribute automatically. How does this differ?
Well, basically, as I've just demonstrated, it's a few clicks if you set up your quick access toolbar. Otherwise, you're going to have to go up into format, into align every time you want to do it. The upgrade to this align tool is, quite frankly, excellent, because you can create a new shape, for example, from your existing one, and every time you create a new one and add it in, it's showing you more and more automatic guidelines. For example, it's now also showing me the distance between the shapes is bang on and equal, so I don't have to worry about distributing those afterwards.
That's really useful.
And the more you get, the more lines you get for aligning everything up. So you're just very easily and quickly able to create aligned slides.
Where previously that would have, I've seen it so many times where people have spent hours sort of mini nudging something and then doing it by sight, or then drawing a line and trying to attach it to a line. So that's fantastic. That's really, really good. So that's useful for sort of your everyday user, and hopefully, if you are an everyday user and you weren't aware of little things like align and distribute, that's going to be useful to you. But having had a look through some of the attendees, we've got some big hitters as well, not just from a design perspective. We've got some of the guys from Microsoft that have tuned in, so thank you guys for joining us. They're going to be at the slightly more advanced end of PowerPoint usage, so what have you got to show them?
Well, I would imagine if you are at a pretty advanced stage of creating your slides, you're going to be using animation to help tell your story. So if we quickly go back to our develop slide, which has got some animation on it, and we go into the animation pane. As you can see, there's no major differences. It looks quite similar. However, the beauty of PowerPoint 2013 now is you can choose the animation that's in the last part of the pane and preview from that section. So previously,
go on.
So previously, you'd have to sit and watch every last bit of your slide animate before you get to the part you're interested in. But now you can just choose the bit you want and play that without having to watch the beginning part of the animation over and over again.
So say the hour studio, if nothing else.
Well,
hours of time a week.
if you add it all up, certainly, if it's 20 seconds a slide, you've got 50 slides. You see the time you're saving is soon going to add up with the animation pane, especially when you get more and more complex animation.
That's fantastic. It gives you visibility, doesn't it? Which is I guess, what you're looking for.
Something else that's also nice is you can you hold the control key and just select certain parts of the animation pane and preview only those as well. So it's also good if you've got things spaced well apart for checking consistency.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Next up, we've got the animation for movements.
Motion paths.
Motion paths.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with motion paths, you'll know it's a really useful tool to helping tell your story because you can make things move around the slide, which always seems to impress people on my training days. So if I quickly add a motion path into this shape.
So motion paths have been around for a while, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more people use them as part of the storytelling process that they take their audiences through. It's a good way of engaging with people and bringing a slide to life that supports the presenter, which is all good news, but they can be a bit of a nightmare.
That's it, exactly. Motion paths, they're so good for helping you tell your story, but they're such a pain as well because it takes so long for you to line up wherever you want them to be. And again, it's going back to the animation pane and the previewing of that. You're watching it again and again and again, trying to guesstimate almost, is it ending up exactly where I want it to? Well, I'm very pleased to say the upgrade to this is just phenomenal. If I select the motion path, if I can get hold of it, you can see PowerPoint is now creating a ghost of the shape. It's showing me exactly where this shape is going to end up.
Okay.
And to really preview its power, I'm just going to insert a quick text box. I'm sorry, I just can't leave this alone as it is. It has to be.
Designers, good lord. Yeah.
So if I quickly copy that animation over onto my text box, you can not only just see where the one shape is going to go, you can hold control and select both of them, and it's now showing you where they both go. Even better, I can actually move this exactly to where I want it, and I can see where it's going to end up. If I make that weird.
Beautiful. Now, I mean, that's a simple one. We've seen some incredibly complex motion path slides, and I can imagine just the ability to sort of see the ghosting and what have you is going to make a big difference. But slides do get really complex. There's a lot of layers and what have you in the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've used selection pane since 2007.
Yeah.
Probably worthwhile explaining, first of all, what selection pane is, and I understand there's some changes in 2013 to make it even better.
There certainly are. If I quickly set the slide up so you can see what we mean by layers. This is when you have got, for example, I'll put this text box on there, group them, where maybe you've got animation such as this, and you want to get, so on the slide you've got layers of objects where they're one sitting on top of the other. So this shape here is at the front, this one's in the middle, and this one's at the back. The old way to get to things would have been to send to back and bring to front, but since or maybe you drag them away and then have to fiddle about and try and put them back to where they were. Yeah, that's happened a lot with PowerPoint 2003. If we open the selection pane, something else, just to go aside a second, I don't know if you noticed that the menus are now opening on the right-hand side of PowerPoint as well, and automatically resizing the slide within it. Quick sidetrack there, but I thought it's worth mentioning. That's going to save you a little bit of time as well, in terms of moving menus out of the way and zooming in and out. Anyway, back to the selection pane. So we want to get to this shape in the middle, but this one is in the way. We can simply go over here and make it disappear. So we're not deleting it, we're not breaking the slide, we're just making it vanish for just the moment where we want to get into this text box and see what we're doing. So that's the selection pane as it's been since 2007. The upgrade in 2013 has made it look a little bit better, but also you can now drag things around. And that might not be too impressive on this slide, but when you've got 50 things, 50 objects, 50 things on a slide, it's soon going to save you a lot of time when you're trying to get the layering right.
So again, it goes back to that point that was made very early on, which is it's about refining the good stuff that was in there rather than necessarily throwing it all out and starting again.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. I guess the final thing, I was just very aware of time and we're very keen to sort of answer any questions people might have. The one thing that people really want is what's the wow factor that this new version of PowerPoint is going to give us. We had some interesting treatment of images on the last version of PowerPoint 2010. We had some pretty cool transitions that were introduced in 2010. What's the wow factor in 2013?
Well, if we look at it from, I think we've touched on quite a few wow factors in terms of presentation design, but from the presenter's point of view, this would be this is what is wowing myself.
Surely not that slide design.
Well, no. I was in a rush.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Carry on.
Okay, so let's imagine for a moment that on these shapes, each shape has got a piece of text that is a different point that the presenter is talking about. And perhaps the audience is reacting to one of these more than the rest, and they want to just concentrate on that one point just for a moment. Microsoft have added this really quite cool zoom feature. So you click on it and literally you can see which part will be highlighted and zoom straight into it.
So when you say zoom, I think Prezi. So, and there may be some people on the call that don't know what Prezi is. So just sort of explain what that is and then tell me, is this the same thing? Or?
Well, I'll say that straight away, it's not the same thing, but Prezi is it's kind of hard to describe it. Imagine a massive blank canvas where you can put designs onto it and then you can zoom into a micro dot, perhaps on that design, where you'll see another design and you can zoom into another micro dot. And you basically end up flying around here, there, and everywhere, and possibly feeling a bit giddy at the end of the presentation. This is not like Prezi. I don't think it's really been created to even compare to Prezi. It's more of a just a tool for literally zooming in close on your slide. You can't zoom in. This is 25% of the slide design. You can probably zoom in to a micro dot on this if this was Prezi.
Right, okay. I mean, the thing that appeals to me, again, as a business presenter myself, is that when I'm presenting to an audience and there's a particular point I want to bring out, I've got a couple of options. I can either animate it, assuming that I want to talk about that in greater detail way before I present this thing, or on the hoof, I can sort of take this and then using this latest version of PowerPoint, zoom into the most appropriate piece within the slide.
Just looking at it from a negative point of view, though, it could encourage people to put more on their slides, thinking, hey, I can just zoom into that when I want to.
They'd never do that, right? They'd never do that. Right, okay, again, aware of time, so we'll push on. I think from our perspective, it's really important to state that Eyeful is a business that makes its living out of presentations, so we know a lot about PowerPoint, because the vast majority of presentations are done in PowerPoint, but we're not here to bang the drum on behalf of Microsoft or what have you. So you seem very enthused about this. Give me the top 3 good things, but then I will be asking you for the 3 frustrations you've got about PowerPoint 2013 as well.
Well, my main wins from this iteration of PowerPoint, the thing that got me when I started looking into it and discovering the new features, jumping up and shouting at my colleagues, hey, you'll never guess what this does.
Which I've been there when you've done that.
First of all, will be the animation pane upgrade. From working with a lot of animations on a day-to-day basis, I know just how much time and effort goes into creating good-looking, well-animated slides. And the fact that you can now skip the first bit to get to the bit you really want to look at to really refine, I think it's just going to save so much time.
Fantastic. Okay, now I'll get that, and I can understand how that could make a big difference if you're using PowerPoint every day. Anything else?
Yes, I think the 16 by 9 auto conversion we mentioned earlier on is going to save a lot of people getting very stressed.
I have a few grey hairs myself as a result of just that sort of issue. So.
I think it's been something that's been needed for a long time now. We know from experience from having panicked customers giving us a call just before they're about to present, asking us for help, and from even on training days where I've been, when I've got to the questions bit, people have always said, is there a quick way to change the slide size? And the answer has always been, unfortunately, no. Now, I don't think it's quite the perfect solution yet, but it's a massive step forward.
Oh, that's good news. Fantastic.
And my final big plus, you'll notice these are all to do with time saving as well, is the eyedropper tool. I think that will, again, it's just going to save you so much time. No longer have you got to go outside of PowerPoint, get colours, get RGB codes, make a note of them, start inputting them. Oh, suddenly I put a digit in wrong and the colour's gone wrong. And you can now just simply take a screenshot of whatever it is you need the colour from, pop it in, click, 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 job done. I think that's fantastic.
Okay, so currently the guys out there from Microsoft will be chest puffed out, very pleased with themselves. Now's your chance to cut them down to size. So what are the things that have frustrated you with, they're either not working the way you wanted them to, or they just simply haven't been addressed?
Well, I'm gonna start with the thing I've just finished with, the eyedropper tool. Yes, it's fantastic. Yes, it's going to save you lots of time when you're in the main content of the slide, when you're putting in colours. But the place where you really need this is in the slide master when you're setting the colour palette up of the presentation, and it's not there. I cannot actually believe it's not there.
But that doesn't really make a lot of sense, because a lot of the issues that we see with people setting templates up incorrectly because they haven't embedded the colour scheme, or when they have embedded the colour scheme, it's not the right colour set. That all happens in the master. Well,
you could just see this being the get out of jail card for people like that. Suddenly they're thinking, do you know what, it's not a massive job anymore. It would have been a quick and easy thing to do. But yeah, it's not there. And it's where you really need it, when you're entering those first 10 colours in PowerPoint and you're typing in 10 RGB codes. That's where you really want that ability to be able to look at a maybe a cut out of a PDF, the colour palette in, and just click, that's one done, click, 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 and you're done, and it's just not there.
Okay, before you get too upset, anything else?
Oh, careful. Yeah, the other, first of all, a very quick one before I get into my big rant.
Oh my lord.
The 16 by 9 auto conversion, which we demonstrated earlier on, as cracking as that is, again, Microsoft seems to have forgotten about the slide master. Even though when you change the size of the slide, it will change the content on the slide to the right ratio, it doesn't actually change what's sitting on the slide master. So, for example, your logo is still going to end up squashed or stretched.
Okay.
So,
okay, bit of an oversight there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, good to know. What's your big rant then? I can see you're building up to this.
My big one is custom shows.
Okay, explain what custom shows are, because I know in the past, I keep name dropping Microsoft, but I'll use them as an example, and I hope you don't mind this, guys, but we've done some work for those guys in the past, which was an interactive presentation where people could drill down and get more information as and when their audience required it. All very clever, all very smart, and it was utilising custom shows. When I went in to talk through with the guys in Microsoft, a lot of them didn't know how we'd actually done it, couldn't quite figure it out. So custom shows, I think, is one of those well-kept secrets that really should be used a lot more. And you're saying that you're not happy with them anyway?
Well, I'm not. It's not that I'm not happy with them.
I think now.
Well, custom shows are a fantastic way of structuring a presentation, because take this slide, for example. You've got 4 quadrants, 4 different pieces of information. You can create a presentation within a presentation of a few hidden slides relating to each of these topics, allowing you, when you're presenting, to tailor the presentation to your audience. Perhaps you know your audience is going to be interested in this sector, but none of the others. So you could click onto here and go into those slides and take a look at them, and then come back out and continue on through your presentation. What's bad about custom shows is, as a presentation develops and progresses over time, people end up adding more and more sections, and the way you create custom shows and organize them isn't editable. And it would be really good if Microsoft had put in a function where you could perhaps move the different custom shows so they stuck in an area that they're all related together. Another way of organizing them would be perhaps maybe Microsoft could have done something with the thumbnail view down the side of PowerPoint. Maybe we could add a special custom show view where it turns into a tree structure, so you can see this slide 2 is my menu slide, and slides 3, 4, and 5 are sat underneath that slide, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that would have been a really nice and organized way to possibly create custom shows. Another one, what about the presenter? If you've got a presentation of 100 slides with 60 different custom shows in it, it can take it becomes quite a difficult job to learn that presentation and where all those hidden custom shows are, because the only clue, if you're not familiar with the presentation, is when your mouse turns into the old hyperlink sign. Yeah. And maybe Microsoft could have made a new keyboard shortcut. So perhaps F7, for example, you could hold that down, and any object that's got a hyperlink on it could glow or be highlighted in some way. And they could have even built that into the presenter view, so only the presenter could see that that's being checked. Like it. I mean, can I add one of my sort of particular pet rants, really? And I don't know what the answer is, but I'll rant away anyway. Microsoft and many other people have estimated that about 30 million PowerPoint presentations are made every day across the world, which is a vast number of very, very bad presentations. Now, I think that the general sort of intelligent view out there is that you cannot blame a piece of software for bad presentations. The bad presentations that are out there, the death by PowerPoint that we hear about time and time again, is down to the fact that presenters don't take the time to properly sketch out on paper and structure their presentation properly. There's no doubt about that in my mind, and I think most sort of rational thinking people are pretty much on the same sort of wavelength. All of that said, Microsoft, by being the provider of the world's favorite presentation software, piece of software, sort of have a moral duty to try and show the way in sort of demonstrating how a good presentation should be delivered. So I'm thinking, and we mentioned this in an earlier webinar, and the response was hysterical, almost like Clippy, which is you want something before you start the presentation that says, stop thinking in bullet points, stop filling up the slide, what are you looking to achieve here? And so I don't quite know what the solution is. All I know is it needs a solution, because otherwise, no matter how clever the new gizmos are in the new piece of software, there's a very good chance that lots of people out there will continue to produce crappy looking presentations, and we can't have that. So that's my rant, really, and Matt, thank you for that. I think what we're going to try and do now is throw the floor open to you guys. So I think what we need to do is get that up and running, and then open up the thing here and see if we have any questions. Okay, brilliant. Let me. What I'll do is I'll drive the questions, ask them out loud, and Matt, the technical questions are over to you. So, John asks. Thank you, John, for asking a question. What's new in presenter view? That's a good question. Presenter view. I don't think we can demonstrate it the way this is set up, but presenter view has been upgraded. But having had a look at it, it just seems to look different to how it did previously, with a couple of different minor tools, but nothing really that I thought worth reporting on in a major way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know there's been some talk of sort of various sort of developments, but nothing that you're thinking is going to make a huge difference.
No. The Zoom function was what stood out for me.
Gotcha. Chris, hi Chris, thank you very much for pinging us a note. Can you rename groups or objects in the selection pane?
You certainly can, and that's been around. That's not a new thing to PowerPoint 2013. That's been around since I think 2007. But it's a fantastic thing to be able to do, because when you're in the selection pane, you can not only type over the automatic name that PowerPoint assigns to a shape or an object or an image or whatever it is. You can rename it. So, for example, that Marilyn Monroe picture, you could type in Marilyn in there. What that also does is the new name will appear in the animation pane as well, which again is going to make your life easier when you're setting up animation.
So it's almost like organising your workspace, isn't it?
Yeah,
just sort of allowing you to do that. Chris asked another good question. Can you copy and paste animations from one object to another?
You certainly can. That's not new to PowerPoint 2013. That functionality came in to PowerPoint 2010. And if you go to the Animations tab on the ribbon, there's a button over on the right-hand side, and you need to say you've got an object and you want the animation from it. You select that object, click Animation Pane, and then you click on the other object that you want to animate.
So it's a bit like format paints that we've had for eons.
Yes.
But it does that with animation.
It does, and it's great.
Fantastic, cool. Okay, we have a good question here from Echo. Hello, Echo. Lovely to catch up with you. Can you hold down your mouse button to grab the colour from the website directly? Oh no, it's not a question. It's a response. It's an update. Echo is an MVP, a walking, talking PowerPoint genius, and she's telling us that you can hold down your mouse button to grab the colour from the website directly. You don't have to bring it in as a screenshot. So thank you, Echo. Lovely to hear from you. Talk about a little community. It's fantastic. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, no, we have one more here. Thanks, Chris. Did I see that on the Insert Picture feature, Bing automatically searches only Creative Commons photographs?
That's correct. It does only search for Creative Commons photographs, but I have it under good authority that still doesn't get you out of jail.
We're not a lawyer. This is America we're talking to. Remember that.
If you insert copyrighted images, and I don't think Creative Commons is enough to use in business presentations. We
would always recommend you speak to a legal professional before opening up the PowerPoint slide, is what you're saying. I think that's it in terms of immediate questions. We have recorded this webinar, which hopefully will, once the technical bods have got hold of it and done what they need to do, we can stick up on our blog. It just sort of leaves both Matt and myself to say thank you very much for taking the time out of what undoubtedly has been a very busy day for you. Hopefully the slide into the weekend will be a little bit more interesting as a result of the time we've spent today. We're always sharing information, and I mentioned it earlier, the community generally, we're very fortunate to be in a community of presentation professionals, all of whom help each other out, and Echo is a perfect example of that. There's a gazillion ways of hearing about what we do and picking up on the different things that we share. I'd recommend the blog if you get a chance to go along to the blog. We always tweet every time we blog something. There's our US-based website.com. There's a gazillion bits of information there, and we also have different language sort of websites out there if you're coming in either Dutch, Russian, which we've not put up there, or the good old website here in the UK. So I think that from Matt and I, that probably leaves us enough just to say thanks once again. Don't be a stranger. Please keep in touch, and thank you for your time.